Okay, so have you ever heard the expression, it doesn't take a genius to figure that out? The reason is because it doesn't. A genius is always focused on one aspect of the problem or a main problem, and then sometimes they get so wrapped up or their own idea and they go down a rabbit hole, or they solve one problem but they can't get the logistics of getting all the pieces together. It takes everyday people or people that, let's say, have IQs of 130 and above, but not quite the 170 to 180, the high ionosphere or atmosphere, whatever you want to call it. So today, I'm going to solve the problem of the government shutdown. Okay, not to boast or brag, but I'm in that 130 plus category. Not way high, but I've always been brilliant in school, especially in the field of mathematics. So what I did was I just went on the computer, Googled a lot of stuff, and I thought to myself, where does government spend a lot of money? And I thought, where do we also have some other problems? Federal prison systems in general, really. And you'd be fascinated to learn that we spend a lot of money incarcerating criminals. And we still have a criminal problem in the streets of America. So let me run by some numbers to you, okay? We spend, and pardon me going off camera here for a second because I didn't memorize all the numbers, but we spend about $80 billion, okay, annually, and this is a direct cost. That means directly spending our taxpayer dollars. Now, indirect costs are even higher. Now, indirect and direct costs are about $182.8 billion or so dollars. Now, this is to incarcerate people every year. This is a lot of money, taxpayer dollars, okay? Now, we also have federal, state, and municipalities that spend money to incarcerate criminals. So what I did was I thought, we need to focus on federal prisons because this is where the federal government can directly control the cost and really either withhold or give the money to the prisons, okay? And I thought, where can we focus on? Hey, let's focus on the blue states, okay? So I thought, hey, have you ever gotten those banners on your TV? I know we all pay our bills, right? But sometimes, maybe a bill slips, okay? So you watch TV one day and you get that signal or that banner that comes and it cuts off your satellite or your cable TV and it says, to reinstate your cable TV, call 1-800, blah, 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 right? Comcast, Xfinity, whatever your provider is. This is an easy fix, my fellow Americans. First of all, inmates shouldn't get squat, in my view, okay? They're in prison, okay? They murdered somebody. They raped somebody. They did something awful, okay? They're getting a better life than you and I, right? But they're getting cable TV. They're getting a lot of perks, okay? Wait till I read some other stuff to you. But for right now, the first thing I would do if I were President Trump is I would cut all cable TV in all the blue states, in all the federal penitentiaries, okay? And it would have a banner, depending on which state it's in, and it would come down and say, to reinstate your cable TV, call your Democratic senator, congressman, congressperson, whatever, and give the name and number and tell them to pass the current resolution and reinstate the government. Easy fix. Easy fix, my friends. I guarantee you those prisoners will call their family members and the government would be running within the week. Easy fix, okay? Because if you're counting on the Congress to do this, these senators, these U.S. senators, will not do it. You know why? Because they're all millionaires and billionaires. They have no reason to get off their asses and do this. I'll give you some other interesting tidbits, okay? I'll give you a list of who's getting paid and who's not. And this is not a complete list by all means, but first of all, the people that are not getting paid but are still working are military, law enforcement, air traffic and TSA. Not that TSA, we don't really care about those people, but some of them can be nice. Department of H&H Services, that's human, and I think that's welfare and human services. The FDA, the DOJ, and the list is on and on, okay? Get this, the people who are still getting paid are the members of Congress. To me, they should be the first people that get no money. So these are the people that are not, they're withholding their votes and they are getting paid. I know this is long, but stick with me, please. Okay. I looked further into the prison systems. Now, I know this is not federal, but on the state level, I looked into, and this is all online. You could check all this out yourself. Believe me. The national average per prisoner per year is $64,865. Now, this is for 2021. This is the most recent data available. The lowest was the state of Arkansas at 23,000. Now, you're not going to believe this. The highest was Massachusetts. Guess how much? $307,000 per prisoner per year. $307,000. What the hell is going on in Massachusetts? Are they getting surf and turf every night? Are they bringing in hookers for these prisoners? I mean, come on. Over 300,000. Listen, I grew up in New York City, born and raised there. Now, I don't live there anymore. Once they started bringing in all these freaks from Minnesota and the West Coast, all they know how to do there now is make coffee and protest, okay? One thing I always knew, being a Yankee fan, was Boston sucks, okay? Now all I know is the whole state of Massachusetts sucks. Over 300 grand. Give me a break. I mean, what the puck is going on in Massachusetts? Anyway, one final word. To me, Trump is being too nice. This is what I would do. Everybody loves to outsource now, right? All these major corporations. You can't get anybody on the phone if you want to get to the top. I would outsource our entire prison system. You want to fix crime in America? Outsource all the prisoners to Mexico. The lowest state is Arkansas, $23,000 a prisoner. I would call the president of Mexico and say, listen, I'll pay you $15,000 a prisoner. We'll start it off as a pilot program. We'll send you 1 million prisoners. We'll give you 15 million. These guys, for all I care, can have rat tacos for meals. No cable TV. They can watch Spanish television for all I care. Listen, please pass this along. This is the Zoo Man. And like me, share me, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.